The change from swim to bike. It's frantic, chaotic, high pressured. There's so much going on and so much that could go wrong. So here are our top tips to get through T1. You've spent weeks and months training for swimming, cycling and running to get ready for your triathlon. But how much time have you spent getting ready for the transitions? Those frantic changes from one sport to the other that seem to happen in a whirlwind of confusion and noise and lycra-clad bodies going in every direction. We're here to help you navigate T1 so that you can avoid any of those mistakes and also gain those precious few seconds that you can get from doing it well with our top tips for T1. We have Belinda, our resident creator triathlete, who feels that her transitions are a bit rusty, so we're going to help her improve them. Right, let's see how you do, Belinda. Here she comes. That's it. Strip the wetsuit. Goggles and hat off. Don't put them on top of your run shoes. Kick that off. Oh, someone forgot to put some lube on the ankles.
A bit sticky ankles.
That's why you put lube on the ankles.
Take time.
Socks on in T1. Doesn't matter whether you do T1 or T2. If you've got to put socks on at some point, same amount of time whether you do it on T1 or T2. Not clipped in her shoes, so she's going to put them on now.
Balance.
That's it. I would suggest you stand on the towel so that you don't get crap on your feet while you're doing it.
Definitely going to get a splinter.
Yep.
Helmet on.
Helmet on before you unrack your bike. Don't forget your race number.
On the back.
On the back for the bike, yeah. And off you go. And if you were paying attention, you would have made sure your bike was in the right gear for starting up a hill, which potentially Belinda didn't do. Yep. Yay! She's off. No, she's not. Yes, she is. No, she's not. Yes. No. I think we can probably improve that. First, do a transition recce. This is as simple as going to the swim exit, or as close as you can get to the swim exit. And while you're there, take note of what the swim exit looks like from the water side, because that's where you're going to be coming from. And then walking the direction that you will follow on race day all the way to your bike, where your bike is, taking note of any landmarks, etc., so that you can navigate your way to your bike, because bearing in mind, it will look a little different on race day or when the race is happening with people all around you. Then from your bike, the direction you're going to follow to the bike exit. And be aware that these can be a bit confusing because the bike exit might be in a completely different direction to where you came in from. And plan for a bit of chaos. There may be people all around you in your way. What your bike looks like when you left it may look a little bit different. Things might have changed while you were in the water. So bear that in mind. There may even be people standing right next to you while you're trying to change. So just be aware of that. Slow down to speed up. Transition often feels like the most frantic part of the race, and every second counts and every moment is critical. This is an illusion. The time you save rushing through transition will be less than the time it takes you to walk through an aid station later on to have a decent drink. So slow down, move deliberately, and get through all the things you need to do, but don't rush. Practice stripping your wetsuit. Now, this is something that people often forget. They think, well, I take it off every time I get out the water. But you don't take it off fast and frantically, and you need to practice this. You should actually practice this every time you go for an open water swim and swim in your wetsuit. Strip your wetsuit down to your waist whilst you're running from the water to the transition. And then when you get to the transition, strip it the rest of the way. And remember, you should probably use some lube around your ankles so that you can slip it off really quickly. Don't clip your bike shoes to your pedals and do a flying mount. I know, it's faster, but this one should really be left to the pros. In fact, even the pros should approach these with caution. The risk versus reward equation on this is heavily skewed towards risk. You don't get a lot of gain from it, and it is very risky. I know it feels awful clunking your way out of transition to the bike mount line wearing the cleats underneath your shoes, but it is safe and it is reliable. Use a towel or small mat to demarcate your transition zone. The transition zone is going to be crowded and it's going to be hard to find your stuff. You also want something to stand on. On that note, you also want to make it line up with your front wheel rather than your back wheel, because when someone else's bike is here, you're not going to be able to get to it all the way at the back. Don't ruin your T2 while you're doing T1. Keep your run shoes neat and accessible, so don't throw things on top of them like your wet wetsuit, and don't throw your wet wetsuit in the way of where you need to be later on in T2. Obviously, none of this is an issue if you have a bagged transition. Reduce the number of things that you do during transition to the absolute minimum. If you can put your sunnies on your helmet so you don't have to put your sunnies on until you're out on the bike, do that. If you can attach your nutrition to your bike so you don't have to stuff it in your pockets, do that. Reduce the number of things that you need to do while in transition to the absolute minimum. Don't eat and drink in transition, because you can eat and drink whilst you're out on the bike, whilst you're moving, rather than when you're stationary. And don't forget your race number. Often you're not allowed to wear your race number in the swim under your wetsuit, but you do need it on the bike. And it's that easy thing to forget when it's just lying on your run shoes or something. So put it somewhere where you absolutely cannot forget it, like on the handlebars of your bike.
Right then, with all of James's top tips, let's see how I do on take 2.
Alright, well done Belinda. I think no more rusty transitions there. Got to set up for our next triathlon race. Hope this video has helped you improve your T1. If it has, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to GTN so you don't miss any of our future videos. Good luck with your next triathlon.